Anyway, enough of that nonsense. But yes, despite everything that I said about my Moto Guzzi V7 750 Mark III Stone, the green one, I've got rid of it. It was the absolute love of my life as well. It was one of the most charming, beautiful, gorgeous, fun, just lovely motorbikes in the whole wide world. I'm being fickle and you know, I've got rid of it, but you know, you get to my age and you trade up for a younger model, don't you? So yes, I've got the Centenario, and literally I have just picked it up, so I've done about 50 miles on it so far. So I'm going to give you super quick first impressions and then do a little bit of a longer thing later on. So super quick first impressions. Exhausts, so they're quite a bit bigger and they're quite a bit quieter as well, which is not necessarily a brilliant thing. Rear suspension is definitely a lot better, so it's a lot less crashy on kind of like hard edge bumps and stuff. Front forks feel exactly the same. So the engine, can you feel the power? So I'm running it in at the moment, so I'm doing about 4,500 revs max, but I can definitely feel it's starting to really perk up about 4,000 revs in a way that the 750 didn't. So I'm kind of hoping it's going to be a lot better for overtaking, and it has got a bit of a more of a long-legged feel, and that's really just an excuse so I can say long-legged and easy to live with and use one of the adverts in the video, of course. What else? Clutch is nice and light. It feels like the biting point is got quite a bit of a further throw compared to the 750, but apart from that, sound it works perfectly well, nice and light. Gearbox is sludgy at the moment, but it's starting to loosen up, and I think, you know, like my 750, probably after about a few thousand miles it'll be absolutely fine. Tyres. So the OE tyres on this are so much better than the OE tyres on the 750. So this comes with a I've totally forgot now. It comes with, oh yeah, Aramaxes, and they feel really nice. Dunlop Aramaxes, really, you know, quite good tyres. You know, so loads better than the old Pirelli demonic Deathmasters that were on the OE, which were the OE fit on the 750. Yeah, the headlight and stuff, yeah, it's not the best, but I mean, overall, I mean, the styling is still absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really liking the silver, the green, and kind of the gold highlights. God, I'm sounding like a right ponce. But anyway, it looks great. I'm in the honeymoon period, of course. It's Northumberland, it's 21 degrees, it's absolutely got 21 degrees, and it's October the 10th. I've got my Guzzi, everything's good in the world, and there'll be more later. Cheery bye. Okay, so good morning. So I've now done about 200 miles. So what am I finding so far? Well, I suppose the first thing to say, you know, it's still definitely a Guzzi. I mean, it still feels like an old-fashioned bike. I guess what it's like is if the old V7 was, say, like a steam engine from 1945, this is a bit like a steam engine from 1950. So it's kind of a little bit more sophisticated, but not really. And it's still got some of the usual, you know, kind of mad Guzzi design decisions. I mean, the clocks, so I've got the stone, so I've got the digital clock. You know, not only is it a completely barking mad shape, but it's like an old LCD watch from like the 1970s, you know, that they got the apprentice to design. It's absolutely mad. And yeah, it's got like the eagle in the middle of it, but of course, as everyone says, it looks like a moustache. And I was thinking about whose moustache it looks like. You know, it's like some dodgy spiv, and then I realised it's exactly like Salvador Dali's moustache. So now that I've noticed that, I can't sort of unsee it. So every time I look at the clock, I see Salvador Dali and kind of like melted watches and stuff. So it's all gone a bit mad. So, but I actually like that. I mean, it's like really cluttered. It's not the easiest to use, but it's got everything you need on it. It's got a ref counter and stuff. So yeah, but you know, it's completely mad. It's what you expect of Moto Guzzi. You know, they just make these mad design decisions, which I think are just brilliant. The gearbox is a bit sludgy from cold. Actually, it's very sludgy. Feels like it's got grease inside the gearbox or something. And when you change gear first thing in the morning, particularly going from first to second, it's like whacking a brass hammer on a surface plate. So it does make a bit of a clunk. But you know, once it's warmed up, it does feel a lot better. The engine's definitely a lot more pokey. And as with my V7 on the first ride, the left-hand mirror came loose. So I don't know what that's about. probably an Italian thing. Hold on, got a cow in the distance, might have to move in a minute. Yeah, but apart from that, yeah, I mean, it's not a massive upgrade, and I'll explain why I decided to upgrade my V7 later on. It was a very personal decision. So it's not a massive upgrade. I can definitely feel it's a bit more pokey, even though I'm running it in at the moment. The handling is a lot smoother. The engine feels lumpier, but kind of quieter. So, you know, you definitely notice the difference compared to the V7, and it is still a cracking bike. It's still a Guzzi that's quirky, a bit mad. It's got some mad, some mad design bits and pieces, you know, like the front headlight again. It's got the eagle thing on it. I haven't tried it in the dark yet, but I'm kind of hoping it projects a gigantic illuminated moustache on the road. How cool would that be? So, yeah, 200 miles in. I might do a little bit more later, but overall, you know, it's a cracking bike. It's still mad. It's still a Guzzi. It still looks beautiful. I mean, what a thing. Right, more later. Rightio, how am I feeling then? So 500 miles in on the Moto Guzzi V7 850 stone. Yeah, well, first of all, I'll just have a drink. So I'm on Fuller's London Porter. Absolutely cracking pint. I mean, it's like proper beer as well. You know, it's not like any of this kind of hipster IPA stuff, you know, that's suffused with kind of, you know, the scent of grapefruit flowers and mango. I mean, what's all that nonsense about? Proper beer. Absolutely proper beer. Highly recommended. Fuller's Porter. In fact, just go for the whole Fuller's range. You know, London Pride, ESB. Oh, God, what a pint. Anyway. So the V7 850, yeah, it's a brilliant bike, absolutely brilliant bike. I mean, I've only done 500 miles and I'm kind of doing short trips on it at the moment. In comparison to my V7, the 750, the Mark III, and I've thought about this quite a lot. And the percentages I'm going to tell you now are extremely accurate and they've been scientifically verified. So for me, the 850 compared to the 750, the 850 is 8% more effective, and that's down to its speed, it's down to its handling, and some of that is down to its comfort. So it's 8% more effective. However, over the 750, I think it has lost 4% of its charm and loveliness. That's just 4%, and I'm not quite sure why that is. I think it's down to the fact that it's a little bit quieter, it's a little bit more civilized, it doesn't rock as much, it doesn't rattle as much. I mean, I'm kind of hoping it's going to start rattling a lot anyway in the next few miles. But yeah, it's lost 4% of charm, but it's gained 8% of effectiveness. Now, if you're going from a 750 to an 850, I think you'll notice that. If you go straight to the 850, I don't think you will, because it is still like, you know, a steam engine, and it still feels like a steam engine compared to my Z900. And I think the other thing about it, the bit of the elephant in the room, is the weight. So the 750 was actually a pretty light bike, really light bike. And the 850, you know, it's like 30 odd pounds heavier. And you don't feel it when you're riding, but bloody hell, when you're pushing it around, it now feels like a heavy bike. Which maybe that accounts for, you know, where the 4% of charm has been lost. It's absolutely not a problem. You know, it's more effort to push around, and I think there's just something about, you know, when you're pushing a bike around, especially when you're old and withered like I am, it just starts to get a bit meh. But put that to one side, it is still a Moto Guzzi. It's a lot faster, it's a lot more responsive, really comfortable, and to be honest with you, I think it'll come into its own when I take it on some longer trips next year. You know, again, I think it's long-legged and easy to live with. Anyway, that's it for this review. It's going to be laid up during the winter because we're about to chuck about 10 gazillion tons of salt on the roads here in Northumberland, which will just destroy the bike. So I'm going to keep riding it probably for a few more weeks until the salt goes down, and then that'll be it. Get it serviced next year, and then I'll be able to use the full 63 horsepower. No, but it is still a Moto Guzzi, still brilliant, still love it. I just need a little bit of bonding time with it. But in the meantime, I've got Fuller's Porter, I've got Twiglets, I've got lovely Susie Perry and Moto GP I'm going to watch in a minute. I've got some sexy French biscuits recommended by Hugh, again, one of my avid viewers. So sexy chocolates, chocolate French biscuits. I mean, how good. I've got a beer, I've got a Moto Guzzi, a Z900 that I absolutely love, and a CRF that's going to have loads of bits and pieces done to it very soon. Oh, and I should also explain what I was talking about earlier in the review. Why have I swapped all my bikes? Well, I'm hoping to retire next year. In fact, I need to retire next year. So once I've retired, that's the end of the new bikes for me. I mean, I've had a good run. I've had a great run. I'm really lucky. And the idea is that, you know, the reason for swapping the bikes is that they're all brand new. They've got 3 years worth of warranty. So if anything's going to go wrong, it's going to happen in the next 3 years. And I don't have to worry about that. So that was the reason for swapping the 750 to the 850. It was the reason for getting the Z900 and also the CRF. So that's about it. I've probably rattled on way too long. So the next video is going to be my CRF 300, because I've had all sorts of good things fitted to it. It's getting really wet and muddy, and I can't wait to get out in it. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope everything is good where you are. Cheers. Have a beer, get some Twiglets, get the Moto GP on. Susie Perry, I mean, isn't she lovely? And yeah, that's it. Cheery bye.